What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle. It's been a minute with Darkest Dungeon 2, and long story short, the last couple of months have been a lot going on, you know. Not to get too deep into it, but stuff's happening, you know. Like, I started wearing hats. Like, that's 2 months right there. Explained. So, I'm actually a little bit sick right now, too, so I'm sorry if I don't sound perfect, but Darkest Dungeon 2 is hitting its 3rd year anniversary. This is important if you play on PC, so you can get your loop year achievement. Log in today, you'll get it. But this marks the 3 years since the 1.0 release. It's officially been 3 years since DD2's 1.0 release. As always, thank you to our incredible community. Whether you started playing in EA or picked up Darkest Dungeon 2 this year, we're so grateful for your support. Since our last anniversary, we put out a number of updates. We released our 3rd and final Kingdoms module, finished our hero reworks, and tuned a number of features with 2 Steadfast Steward updates, releasing hero origin skins and expanding mod support to include custom heroes, which that's something I need to make a separate video on. But there's been Musketeer as a mod that's been worked on. I talked about it in a different video for a little bit, but there's a couple people. One is named Givaz, I believe, and the other is Peacekeeper, and they both got together, and they're working on Musketeer and Shieldbreaker, and I think they're looking at Hound Master, but I don't know if they've started. And with that, it's been pretty cool. You know, they're making a lot of good progress, and I am fortunate enough to be working on the skill sets, so I got to be included, and I've made a base Wanderer path for Musketeer, and I'm going to do Shieldbreaker sometime soon. But aside from that, good stuff happening in the mod community. We've also seen Omen Seeker and Hornet, and I haven't checked in on the mods for a while, but there's a lot of good progress being made there. Here is the release timeline. Right now, we actually have a roadmap, you know, the very rare Red Hook roadmap, and I'm saying this a bit tongue-in-cheek because they made a roadmap for DD2 about 4 years ago. It was in like early 2022, so about 4 years ago. And Red Hook abandoned it immediately because, you know, as a game dev, things change and they get different ideas and all that, so. And some things just prove harder to do with limited resources, so I totally understand that. Like, Hero Origin Skins was on the original roadmap, but, you know, it takes time to do several of them. You have to reanimate everything, rig it. It's essentially making animations for like 14 new characters, so it took a long time, understandably. Yeah, so we got Kingdoms, and then we got all the modules. We got the Steadfast Stewards updates 1 and 2. We also got the modding update called Dark Side, and in this here, we see 2 interesting things. One, the Switch 2 port, which a lot of people were asking for, so there you go. And future DLC in 2027. We'll get into that too, but also of note is Red Hook's been super busy doing content, or at least collaborating with the Dead by Daylight developers at Behavior. So if you're unaware, about 2 weeks ago, about a week ago, like 10 days, something like that, they released a Rift, I think it's called, for DBD. I'm not a DBD player, so don't, you know, pillory me for not knowing this perfectly. But they released a Rift, which is like a timed battle passy thing, I think, okay? And that has Darkest Dungeon themed stuff. I'm actually gonna make a video with Ranger soon about it too, because he knows DBD. I don't, but he does, so we'll talk about it. And there's stuff you can get in DBD for Darkest Dungeon 1 and 2. That's pretty cool. Although, you know, I'm having some ideas now. I'll talk about that after we examine everything else, though. So here's all the individual stuff for the news articles, and then it says there are a few new things on the horizon. Switch 2 edition is in production. We don't have a release date to announce. Happy to confirm a new DD2 DLC is in the works. We assumed, you know, myself included, like, that this wasn't ever going to happen. And I know some people just thought the game was going to keep going, and that's totally fine. But a lot of the signs were there that it wasn't. For instance, you know, there were no announcements since like September of last year. So it's a long time. It's like 8 months. And with DD2, Red Hook was posting new jobs, like new job openings, but they were for Unreal 5 engine. So DD2 is on Unity. It's not on UE5. But now it kind of seems like maybe this was for the DBD devs. You know, maybe they worked on some stuff and then sent it that way. They just needed people to help make UE5 content. I don't know. But yeah. And so now we're coming back here because in January on the DD1 10-year anniversary, the announcement, like the presser that they put out, said at the bottom, "We're not done in the dungeon yet." And that's either DD3 or DD2 DLC. So they did kind of hint that this was coming, but we know nothing about it. Like, no one knows anything about it, you know, besides Red Hook, obviously. Even I don't know anything about it. If you want to help test the upcoming release, you can sign up here. So they're opening up the tester pool again, which they haven't done this for a few years. So if you want to be a tester for DD2, then you can sign up and, you know, try to join. They take anyone, you know, that seems like a good fit, and it doesn't really matter your experience. They have a few different groups. They have like the veteran test group. They have the new player test group. I don't know if these are still here, but they did have them at one point. And, you know, the group I'm in has a couple content creators too. So there's various groups that you can wind up in. So don't think that you're limited by your experience or that you have to be a content creator or anything. Like, if you just want to test the game, test it. They want your opinion. And you get a straight, you know, conversation into the devs, which is nice. You don't have to wait for it to come out and then put in a feedback post and all that. If you are a DD2 fan and haven't done so, please leave us a positive review on Steam. I like that mountains is capitalized because the theme in Darkest Dungeon 2 is the mountain, so that's cute. I see you who did this. I'm assuming Michaela. But otherwise, that's the news. So we have some modding coming up, undetermined on the time. We have a DLC next year, and we have a Grave Robber plushie that's out right now. How dare you not talk about the Grave Robber plushie that is for sale on makeship.com. And she's super cute. I'm actually gonna go find it. Sorry for the flashbang, but look, here she is, almost 1,000 sold. And she's so adorable. She's got 2 knives. There's no room for the pickaxe because the hat is half of the frickin' plush. Do they have any other pictures for her? They do like other places, but I don't see one here. But she's so cute. All right, go buy Audrey. I'm getting at least 1, maybe 3, who knows? Here's the DVD page for Darkest Dungeon. So if you play Darkest Dungeon and you like Dead by Daylight or vice versa, you know, you should support the Red Hook initiative because, you know, I'm a Red Hook simp. But yeah, you should be pleased, I would imagine, if you play DBD and you like DD acronyms. So this is only a snippet of what everything is too, to my knowledge, because you get the 4 survivor skins right here. And interesting, they didn't put Man-at-Arms on the team. There's no, the unusual suspects, but this is still cool. I mean, Hellion's great. Noodle Arm Hellion, not as much in this picture, but the character they put the skin on, you know, she has regular arms. So I just think it's funny because there was a noticeable like desire in the player base to have Hellion be more actually buff compared to DD1, and they made her really buff in DD2, and then in the game she kind of goes back to the DD1 variant, unintentionally, of course. I'm not saying that they, you know, were out there to undermine any Hellion progress, but I digress. The charms, I've seen more than just the candle. I think there's the rabbit and a couple others. So again, I don't know a DBD, but badges, I'm sure there's more than just Helene. I would assume one for each character here. And as far as like the skins and stuff go, at the bottom, this says Runaway Ready, but this doesn't look like DD2 Runaway. I mean, you know, there's a more risque outfit with some cleavage, and, you know, that's not really a thing in DD2. So, especially for Runaway, you know, she looks like a freaking hobbit. She's Frodo, essentially, with a fire poker. Anyway, so yeah, you get these 4 skins, these 2 boss skins for Nurse and Blight, and then there's also a Jester for the Wraith. It says Periwinkle the Jester, but I mean, Sarmenti wears a purple outfit like that in DD2 as well. But I'm assuming all of the free stuff is supposed to be like not, I don't know. I'm not getting into it. I'm not going to speculate. That's not what you're here for. But yeah, there's more than this. The reason this is important, for one, we all knew Collector was like the most likely candidate as a killer. Although Fnatic would have made a lot of sense too, because Fnatic puts people on witch pyres and burns them. That's like exactly what happens in DDD when you hook someone, but people probably don't know Fnatic that much. Sorry, I was just thinking, what other boss could they put in here? And I was like, what if they put Thing from the Stars or the Sleeper? I took a minute to look at the trailer and the announcements and all that again, and I think I'm starting to put the pieces together. And so what I'm noticing here is that some of the stuff I talked about, like the rabbit charm, is apparently a drop. So you have to watch DBD with a linked account on Twitch, and then you get the rabbit and Crusader helmet and something else as a drop. And today's the last day for it. So I don't know if I can just let my, I don't know, leave up some DBD on my phone or something for 6 hours and do other stuff. But let's see. The thing that jumps out to me is the Blight. So Prophet is a DD1 boss. So is, what is it, Collector, obviously, but in all of the promotional material, there is, it's all labeled as DD2, and I think that's just an oversight, possibly, from whoever made the trailer. So I've got the image here. So if you look here, this is the Prophet, but then obviously it's the Killer 2, but it says Darkest Dungeon 2 down here in the bottom. And the Prophet's not in DD2, so I'm wondering, is this like a hint of things to come? I doubt it, but it's kind of fun to be a conspiracy theorist about. The reason I can't confidently say that, you know, it's purely DD2 with the Prophet, you know, is because you have the Ancestor's Candle Charm. This is from DD1, and I don't believe it's in 2. No. Okay, because there are some returning Ancestor trinkets, but the candle's not one of them. And the other thing that was interesting, well, first I'm going to talk about the Wraith real quick. So it says Periwinkle the Jester, and he's purple, but also DD1 and 2 Jester both have a purple skin, so it could be inspired by, for sure. And the reason this gets more relevant and interesting too is because on this Reddit thread, I'm glad someone had this posted up, and we'll give a shout out to District Dry 2852. Thanks for finding this. But also, I mean, other people had sent me this too and stuff, but I wanted to make sure that I had a picture like somewhere that I could post up. And so the enemy here, like the skin for the knight, you know, it's the Tangle Knight from DD2. It looks the exact same. Well, not the exact same, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like rusty, mossy, horns on helmet, you know, giant sword. It's very, 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 very similar, to the point where I would say it is actually a reference to it. But I know some people are like, well, they didn't explicitly say it's a reference, Shoo, so therefore you can't explicitly call it such. Whatever. This one was interesting because It says it's available in Ruin, which I think means it's in the Rift Pass thing, because it says Rift down here too. But this is Houndmaster. So he's got the headband, the beard, and yeah. So there's more in this thing than you can see right here. So that's pretty cool. There's actually one more thing I'm going to go back and find. So right here, we have two things happening. One, as always, Chris, too afraid to have Barassa. Oh my god, that's a Freudian slip. But Chris is too afraid. I'm joking, by the way. But Red Hook too afraid to have Highwayman get injured in the trailer. Like, he has to be... I don't know. I'm kidding. Because he's like the favorite character of Chris. So I make jokes that he's like, you know, the dev bias thing. The community makes that joke. And I think that's it. I was going to talk about this image right here because in... what is it? The job postings for the like Red Hook stuff, when they're talking about Unreal Engine 5, they wanted someone to be a level designer and put, you know, something like lootable stuff and collectibles in whatever they were working on. And I see a treasure chest being open here, but I don't know if that's just like a cosmetic fun thing. Just like a skin for the hatch or something. I don't know, because I haven't played this, but is there loot in DBD? You know, do they actually put little treasure boxes to seem like Darkest Dungeon in there? That'd be cool. Otherwise, that's it for the news for DD2. As for, you know, just personal channel update stuff, there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to work on right now, not just Darkest Dungeon, obviously. Doing a lot of Quasimorph, because I like that game, and people that play DD seem to like that game too, so we're pushing with that. I have been uploading a game called Chaos Zero Nightmare, called CZN, like abbreviated. And yes, it's Waifu Collector, but the game is surprisingly really fun in terms of gameplay. Yes, there's fan service. And if you're worried about fan service, you're like, oh, that's not my Darkest Dungeon, go to the workshop. If you only play Darkest Dungeon on console and have never been exposed to the workshop for DD1 and DD2 at this point, then you'll see that fan service is very much in the community. Yeah, so the gameplay in Chaos Zero Nightmare, I'm going to make a bigger video on this, but it plays like anime Slay the Spire with, because it's a deck builder, but then it's got Darkest Dungeon theming also. The game has cosmic horror, and they kind of shifted from that, but, you know, because of drama in the community. It's a long story, I'm not going to get into that, but they're shifting back to it because people were going like, can you come back to this? We don't just want, you know, waifu simulator, we want cosmic horror. So they're starting to bring it back too, which is really good. And I think the game's just really fun. Like I said, it's very, very close to STS if you just enjoy that. It's like structured on it. When I have a screenshot somewhere, but like there's a survey for CZN where it said, which games of these do you like playing? And, you know, to compare it to other games so they get ideas. You know, and obviously there's a bunch of top mobile games in there, but then there's Slay the Spire, understandably, but then also Darkest Dungeon, because it is part of the inspiration for the game. The devs seem to like Darkest Dungeon. I've said this in another video. Korean players like Darkest Dungeon. You know, there's actually a Korean community around the game. So it's not unusual. And what it borrows from DD is the stress mechanic, like the stress and meltdown mechanic, so, or affliction, whatever you want to call it. It's both games. Anyway, I'm uploading that, and I'm trying to get everything back on schedule here and get healthy and all that, and then we'll do more stuff. So that's it for the video and the news. Lots of variety stuff. We'll do some DD stuff as well, don't worry. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you're thinking down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. I hit the microphone. All right, goodbye.